Ooh, a bit of the old frog in the throat there this morning. How are we? Yes, I am back once again with more news, this time from America. Oh, say, can you see by the doors, etc. What a lovely voice. Bane. Certifying activism here, the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology's DEI obsession. It's just, this sort of stuff is everywhere now, and people have got to start saying no. That's the only way forward. Before that, please do subscribe, share, join my Substack. But best of all, become a warrior teacher. We need you. We need more people. It's that simple. One person at a time. That's how we change this. One person at a time. So this is interesting. From April the 4th. By a company, an organization, a page group called Do No Harm. Do No Harm Medicine.org, which is obviously the basis, the Hippocratic Oath, the hippopotamus oath, as I call it. Firstly, do no harm. So this is from them. And it's about the DEI and EDI and how the template is placed across whatever this parasitic thinking wishes to engulf. And this is a very good example of that. You can see that they've got there a generic picture of somebody with a clipboard. It's just surreal, right? But here we go. Have a look and see what's going on. Like many medical organizations in recent years, the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology, that's the ABPN, which certifies psychiatrists and neurologists, underwent an ideological transformation that involved integrating DEI and anti-racism into its core mission and activities. Now, this is very interesting because what we're seeing here in this American example is what will happen with the National Curriculum for Children in the UK. Mark my words. Mark my words. It's exactly what they're going to do. This is how EDI, DEI, and all that rubbish works. Template. They take it like a template and they place it across everything. We know this with schools, for example, with gender identity ideology and queer theory. They take it and they place it as a template over every subject, and it ends up stifling everything. That's what the idea is, to stifle everything, such as critical thought. That's that you can't have thought. I mean, real serious critical thinking. No, you can't have that. Goes against the mantras. Sorry. Trans women are women. Okay. Nutter in the staff room. Right? So you can see we've seen it in schools already. So this is the sort of thing that we're seeing now in this particular case with the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology. According to its DEI resource page, and there's a link there for you to go and have a look at, DEI is now a part of its strategic action plan. There it is, right? So it's set right at the heart of what's going on. The plan lists diversity, equity, and inclusion as one of the ABPN's key values. Similarly, listed among its priority areas is the goal to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion across our activities. So, in other words, one of the key values of the ABPN in the Strategic Action Plan is now racism. So, we will be racist. It might as well just say that, because anti-racism is racism. You get that, right? It's the opposite. It's been queered. The plan lists, pursuant to its strategic action plan, the ABPN has established a board-level DEI committee. So they've now got a committee separate from the board to ensure that this is enforced. In other words, the board have lost control to these racist lunatics, mad communists, whoever they may be. All right? Okay, get it? Which is exactly what Abraham X. Kennedy, the godfather of some of this nonsense, said that they should do with the American presidency, that this anti-racism group should sit above the people, above the president. It's totalitarian. And they've gone, yeah, we'll have some. I mean, countries have fallen for totalitarianism in the past. The ABPN, hold my beer. So they completely embrace totalitarianism. That's what it is. They are committed, according to this, to fostering an inclusive workplace. It's not what it means, though, is it? Including best practice in human resources. Human resources, what a cesspit. Additionally, the ABPN has altered its certification process to incorporate DEI objectives. Right, so here we go. So they're saying to professionals now, in order to get certified, in order for us to be able to give you the stamp of approval, you'll have to do this. It's time, in America, same as we're seeing over here, it's time to forget accreditation by these people. They're completely captured. Forget accreditation. We need to do accreditation ourselves and have standards that we hold each other to. We don't need some big organization to tell you whether or not you're getting a good therapist. So that's the only way I see now, is to have separate organizations. I've got a conversation coming up with some folks in the therapy world. It's going to be interesting. That's what we need to do. We need to say, right, okay, this is accreditation. This is the standard we hold ourselves to, and actually have the standards there and say, here's what we do. And it's the first thing you give anybody who comes to you as a client. But also state clearly that you do not work with organizations that bother with all this bullshit. That's what I do. That's just me. What do I know? Nothing. It now provides CME or self-assessment CME activities with DEI-related content for use towards continuing certification requirements. On another resource page, the ABPN promotes several continuing medical education courses designed to advance DEI and anti-racism. In short, this means that DEI indoctrination counts towards certifying a psychiatrist or neurologist's competency to practice. So they're saying, without these certificates saying that you are a fully anti-racist EDI, DEI, neurologist or psychiatrist, then you're not competent to practice. In other words, if you don't find our ideology, we find you incompetent. So suddenly competence becomes incompetence. Queer theory. You get it? Switcheroo, but this time with an American flavor. We're going to do a switcheroo here. Is that American or Canadian? I don't know. This is obviously nonsensical, it says here. But the courses promoted by the APPN feature offerings from major mental health medical associations. These courses are administered by medical associations, including the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, which is the AACAP, the American Academy of Neurology, the AAN, and the American Psychiatric Association, the APA. The course features titles including Clinical Essentials on Advancing Anti-Racism and How Racial Socialization Perpetuates Racial Inequalities in Psychiatry. There's also the AN's Anti-Racism Education Program. This course's objectives include having participants recognize anti-racism as a professional competency. See what they're doing? Engaging in conversations about race and racism and practice skills to improve patient care and understand how to apply a racial equity framework to their own clinical practice and in healthcare systems. Additionally, several APA offerings promoted by the ABPN include implicit calls for activism in the field beyond, including approaching diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice through creating sustainable organizational change. Advocacy for anti-racist policies that expand equitable access to mental health care, the role of a psychiatrist, and stylistic writing strategies that further racial equality. In other words, we want to turn these people into activists so that, in essence, we can undermine their competence. No competent individual should want any part of this, certainly not in psychiatry and neurology. No competent individual. The consequence of this DEI fixation is that psychiatrists and neurologists will be inundated with racial and political agitprop to the detriment of their practice. This is not helping patients. Instead, it is embedding a radical and often discriminatory ideology into the profession. Well said. That's the only way to look at it. I've got friends that I know work in the NHS that are having the same problem. Every other day they get something. Come to our anti-racist training. Are you an anti-racist person? Can you be an ally to BIPOCs? No. I can't, right? And nor can most people. Nobody cares. It's got to stop. It has to stop. But this is the stuff they're doing. Parallel organizations is the only way forward. Mark my words. You start a separate organization. You begin advertising to the public in the ways that we can now with the technology we've got. And we do it by damning the existing credentialists. That's how we do it. We do it by exposing to the public what they are and then saying there is now a new standard. This is the standard. This is what we will hold ourselves to. And that becomes the gold standard for any given industry so that we can completely ignore things like the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, the NMC. Just get rid of them, right? We don't need them. Ignore them. What are they going to do? That's how I see it. But then, I'm me, okay? But you're you. So let me know what you think of the Dubris. Come be a warrior teacher. Bye-bye. Have a grand day.